We're here. This is your brother Jihad Hassan Muhammad with the Dallas Weekly. We're here with our sister Khalilah Camacho Ali. A great legacy in Black history. Living legend right here. What we want to talk about is we want to go on a journey.
Okay.
And as we go on the journey, we know that you, being the wife of Muhammad Ali, you know, doing a great part of the history in the 60s and things of that nature, helping to make him one of the greatest, if you will. We want to talk about before that. We want to talk about, or during the times of what you were doing, your history in Black history.
Yes, sir.
You know, as it relates to Malcolm X, as it relates to Martin Luther King. Expound on that somewhat.
Well, you know what? I was thankful to Allah that my mother and father became Muslims at a young age and gave birth to me, and I was a part of that family and opened al-Islam into my life, and it was just a part of my life, and it was a beautiful journey because I was able to go to Muslim schools and work in Muslim bakeries and restaurants and know of our culture as a people. Having Black history at 5 years old and having it the all-around study of our Black history and the knowledge of America and our knowledge of all people and where they came from and the things they grew up in and the slavery and how slavery affected us and what we lost as slaves, and then for us to grow up in a nation within a nation.
Right.
We lived in America, but in the Muslim world in America, shut off from the pros and the cons and the superstitions and the polygrip of hypocrisies. Our children were taught the rights and the wrongs and the disciplines that wasn't given to the regular, normal, everyday person. We was able to learn what our past was so we can view our future. It's a great gift.
Definitely.
Great gift. I grew up with a mother and a father that gave us discipline, that gave us everything we needed for school, that took us to school every single day. Grew up in the works of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, my father a lieutenant, and my mother working with the sisters in the MGT, and me as a teacher of self-defense and learning to cook and to sew and doing all these things that a woman must do in the times of need when we become married women and before we become mothers. It's a long road from being a young girl, being in a world of, I would say somewhat chauvinism, and find out that we were actually free and independent as Muslim women, according to the Holy Quran.
Yes.
There was a lot of things that I grew up and fought for and lived for and believed in wholeheartedly, without doubt.
Yes.
And I fought for those beliefs. I grew up wearing long skirts when it wasn't fashionable. I grew up with scarves on when it wasn't fashionable. I saw some of my classmates that kind of ignored some of the strictly dress codes and everything, and which I was very proud of.
Yes.
And still is. And growing up under an Honorable Elijah Muhammad and being hands with him personally, learning how to sew and cook and make bean pies and just experiencing one-on-one with a leader, a man who had power over people, who had the strength to show us independence, to show us the unity of one and how we could better ourselves uniting.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Come on.
You know, I was a soldier of Islam. I mean, I was a captain. I was a lieutenant. I walked people into the mosque and I searched them and I walked them to their seats and I did things. Watched and guarded over Betty Shabazz and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, served them coffee and tea. You know, in the home of this great leader. So I actually came up in a home of great leaders and a great man like my father.
Come on.
And a father who did not disappoint me not one bit as a father. Never, no disappointment.
Wow.
No disrespect to my mother. Always was there and gave up everything she needed. Always gave her love and affection. And it was the most beautiful thing anyone can experience. Can I come up with the sisters and brothers who we shared and we had fun with, and we pretend to be in different countries and different cities in our own bedrooms. And we covered ourselves as we were older, saying the same things. I'm in Las Vegas, I'm in London, I'm in Africa, I'm in Brazil. Won't you come and see me? And it became a reality. And these are the good times.
Yes, definitely.
These are the times I met many people, and then meeting Cassius Clay and learning about this young, vigorous, and astounding fighter that was very good at what he does. And then being married to him and then being exposed publicly on a larger scale, meeting kings and queens in 100 countries and 50 heads of states. And this is just it only enhanced my expectations of life.
Wow, definitely.
You know, meeting Alex Haley, and meeting Tom Koppel, and great men, you know, like the announcers, you know, Herb Kent, the cool gent, a man who was the icon of Chicago. You know, meeting Harold Washington and taking pictures with him in a parade, and being a marshal of the parade and leading women in different parades and getting documents and dedications and proclamations from cities and womanhood and women's groups and schools and speaking in universities and colleges.
Wow.
This is a great adventure, man. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
So being living Black history, because you are, whether you know it or not, you live in Black history.
I live in Black history.
You are living
I walk
Black
with the
history.
liberators. I walk with the
Right.
revolutionaries,
Definitely.
H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Marilyn McKeever, Billy Davis. I met these young people. These great people you read about in our Jet magazines and our Muhammad Speaks newspaper, and actually get to have a rapport with them on a human level.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder.
Wow, definitely.
You know, Yuri Blakely. I mean, Roberta Flack. You know, James Brown. You know, these are great people that have made music, and movies, and Ruby Dee and Sidney Poitier, and I never thought I'd ever meet these people. You know.
Definitely. And
I mean, who would think I met Little Joe Cartwright on the Bonanza?
Right.
I mean,
And so being living history, take us to the time, because I recall in the film The Trials of Muhammad Ali, and you talked about when you first met Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
And your requirements, that you laid a requirement down, and about him knowing himself when he knew who he was, as far as our people were concerned. That then you would pay him some attention.
Yeah.
Walk us on that journey and how that journey began and started.
But you know what? You have to look at the fact that the greatest man of all men, other than my father and mother, was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not being honest with you.
Definitely, I agree.
This is a great thing. This is a so-called leaders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get any bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
So when, and this is a black world, and black power and black love, you know, black revolution.
Mm-hmm.
People who are black unity and put themselves together, all the sisters dressed in white, all the brothers together and soldiers and protecting our women.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When you have that, and you have to realize when you have all of this in your life every day, and somebody walk up to you and say their name is Cassius Clay,
Mm-hmm.
and they like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are names of a Roman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the Romans were about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these weren't people that was known to be great people. These
Right.
were terrorists.
Definitely.
These were people who stealed and killed and robbed and looted and did everything. And through all the countries, through all the path they went, and it was war and killing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to say, my name is Cassius Marcellus Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Get your autographs now. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, to me, that kind of sounded like out of line. It was like something wrong with that picture.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say, man, you know, and I tore up the autograph and put it in his hand, I was sincerely meaning, look, brother, you need to know who you are. And I'm being sincere with the person.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know this. I'm a young woman and I know this. You're older than me. You do not know this. This is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure if I would say something to make him realize
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying to yourself here,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Prick the conscience.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
important to me to open that door for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what? That's when the target started.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the target came, right here. And so he never forgot me because of that. I mean, maybe if I had never said anything like that, he would just say me just like he say anybody else. But I didn't do it for that purpose. I did it for the purpose that he came in front of me and said this to me personally, and I just had to put him in check
Mm-hmm.
and say, listen, brother, you know, hey, you know, I mean, you know, I know you. I think you're positive. I think you're a very opportunist, and I think you're gonna be something in life because you said it and you meant it, and I believe you. But there's something missing here about being proud of being a Clay,
Mm-hmm.
and proud of being something that you have no idea what you're saying here. And it was important to me at that moment, and I wasn't really thinking about, you know, what he would think after I said it.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that he should know this.
Definitely.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. There was no motive involved,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just a young girl thinking this is a handsome man, and I think he should know a little bit better. And by him being handsome, I think he should be educated as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the right thing to do.
Definitely.
You know, I didn't know it was going to be a long friendship, and that we'll be talking to each other again and again. And then when I began to see him fight, and I saw how good he was, that impressed me a little bit. And I said, well, I like him as a fighter, but what is he fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's good to fight to be the best you can be, but what is he really fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he said, well, I want you to fight for my name. I got my name, and I want you to respect me for my name. And I said, oh, that's a good deal. And I think he learned something.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started doing that,
Yes,
I was
yes.
proud of him.
Yes.
I really was. And I started taking a second look at it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And of course the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I don't think he really saw the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now let's talk about that fight, because the trials of Muhammad Ali were your trials at this point in time.
Tell me about it.
You know, with the war and everything. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that time, you being that person by his side, his
Yeah.
wife, you know, that's, you know, saying that this is what you should do, that
Right.
conscience for him.
Yeah.
Explain that so that we can
Well, you know
understand the
what?
history.
You know, at that moment, he needed support. He needed somebody to stand in his corner. I felt that you will become really a great fighter, and I think for your cause and beliefs, and I support you in those cause and beliefs, and they reassure you that it's the right thing to say and to do, and maybe you should, kind of guide other men to think the same way, because you are a leader of men, and a lot of our young men needs that positiveness and
Yes.
that skill of strong determination, and I think he was a good role model for a lot of upcoming fighters. He has opened that door for other men to be as great in the boxing world as he, and or at least inspired them to be at least as half as good as he. Because I feel the example of his life as far as his boxing and his decision to stand up for that belief, whether he knew the power of it or not. It's a Muhammad Ali in all of us. It's the saga of the fact that all men should struggle for that, and all men should stick to their goals and focus and stay focused and get what they want in life, because if they stay focused, they can't get what they want in life, and I believe that. I still believe that. I believe that I can create a college that women should go to and feel great at and be respected, and don't have shenanigans and lose your livelihood being stupid and silly and doing the wrong things with no guidance and no positive message in your studies. I'm a stickler for building an institution that a woman can go to college and be free to do the right thing, not get into the wrong things, and open the doors of all this debauchery and adultery and all of this crap that they get involved and get sidetracked. And they need to have an institution where they're sincere and they can study without any distractions.
Definitely. Let's look at, you talked about, and as you are walking Black history, you talked about being in the home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and pouring a coffee for Dr. Martin Luther King, or just express to us, give us a walk through that history.
But to be what it's like to be in a beautiful home with chandeliers and mirrors and like a castle, to see the reflection of beautiful, prominent Black people sitting around the table and eating clean food and healthy food in a good environment without any arguments or fights and just mayhem. And it's like being in a castle with a king. And I mean, that's what I felt like. Being in the presence of Elijah Muhammad is like being in the front of a king. And a king that you respect and love and admire. But he was more than a king to me, because he taught with self-respect. He taught, and he did not stutter when he told us what we could be ourselves, and what we are really created to do in life, to better our world, to better our people, to better ourselves. And he was a perfect example of that. He did not teach anything or preach anything or practice anything that he didn't do himself.
Right.
And he did it with love, compassion, and humbleness. He loved our Black people. He loved how, and he sacrificed his own family, and he went to jail.
That's right.
For his belief, and for his respect, and for us. And I would always be thankful to Allah that I've experienced that as a human being. I hear and travel all the way around the world in different countries, and I see different Muslims, and they had never met the man, but they loved him just as much as I did, and followed his teachings the way I did, and never met him. You know, and to be right under him, and actually, he touched me. I mean, he actually touched you.
Right,
as like
right.
a child, he pet you in the head.
Yes,
I mean, you
yes.
know, it's just a beautiful thing to have been with him and being with his son, the Honorable Imam Warifti Muhammad,
Yes, ma'am.
who brought the freedom of Islam and the proper way of praying, and showing us how the Quran is our leader and our guide and our teacher, and teaching us how to be humane with one another, without all this emotion, all this big, you know, egos and big prides. And he's, get rid of that. You don't need that. All you need is sit down and talk to one another. We are so important to each other as human beings. There should never be any wars. There should always be where we can negotiate and communicate without war. We are that powerful. We are created to be humane without war.
Definitely.
War is a devil work. War is killing innocent people. And damaging the brains of innocent people, making them see horrific things and going through terrible things. Look at the minds in which our men and women had to tally under war.
Yes.
Under Iraq, under Afghanistan. How many people, children were killed senselessly because one want to take over another. And you can do that just with a conversation. When there's no intelligent, humane conversation of commitment or compromise, then we don't want to compromise.
Right.
We want to take. And when you can't compromise and you want to take, that's the beginning of the war.
Yes.
And that's the beginning of our death. That's just the beginning of the evil sipping into our brains and giving us our sicknesses and giving us all our pain and our psychological issues that they can't even cope when they come back from the war. This is a very bad thing. This is a very bad thing. God has made us intelligent enough to bargain and to compromise.
Definitely.
You don't need to have war.
Now, being an ambassador for women, because you're an ambassador for women from, you know, day one, and even in the, you know, from your training in the MGT, and you know, and now taking that training and going worldwide, and what do you have to say, particularly for Black women, as we are in an age now with the reality shows and you know, and everything that, you know, the banner of Black women seems to be going down. What do you have to say about that?
And what I have to say, it's horrific. I mean, I turned on the TV and I saw a reality show with women, housewives. The things that they say to one another, it's ridiculous. I mean, the profanity, the cussing, the fighting. It's like children. It's worse than children. And it's disgusting to see women talk to each other like that. I don't like any reality show because it's only created and made to look like an ignorant person. It shows the ignorance and brings out the ignorance in our people, in all people. whites, Chinese, the Caucasian people, all people. They make us all look stupid. All of us. And it's ridiculous. The things that they argue about. Thousands of dollars worth of shoes that they can't even wear once a day in a year. More than they can wear in a year. I mean, and makeup that they spend thousands of dollars and it don't help them at all. You know, and they argue and bicker and I want this and I want that and you can't have that and yeah, it's ridiculous. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I have never seen women so low and so unfeminine. And it's like somebody created a monster.
Yes.
You know, these are not women. These are females who are ignorant to the fact that this only thing that they care about in life is material gain. That's it. You know, it's all materialism. It's all selfish. It's petty things that they are not focusing on the real issues they need to be focusing on, and that's their children and each other, where they can better themselves. I would never do a stupid fight woman, and then men trying to get women and going and sleeping with this one and going to sleeping with that one. It's a disgrace. It's really pathetic. It's pathetic. Okay.
And looking at your banner of you know of being an ambassador for women, you know, and the media. What, as far as Hollywood and the media and all of those things and the portrayal, you've always been a woman of respect. It's known worldwide as the wife of Muhammad Ali, and even beforehand. What was your take of your portrayal in the Ali movie? What was your take of the portrayal that they did as far as how they portrayed?
Well, they thought, without even asking me, they just thought that all they could see was the good side of me, the good wife, and I was nice and I was supportive. But they don't know me. They have no clue who I am. They didn't come to ask me. They don't want to know. All they want to know is how great he is, and that's it. And I was there, and I was just another wife, and that was it. So you know, it all depends on what people want. I mean, I know how much I helped the man.
Yes.
I know how much supportive I was of my children and him and our beliefs. And, you know, I feel that the only way to tell a story is to tell your own story.
That's right.
Because it's just like any kind of history. If you want to write about history, the best way to do it is write your own history, because nobody's going to do you justice. There are a lot of women who've done stories. I've seen stories on, you know, Tina Turner. I've seen stories on Rosa Parks. There are different stories that you see portrayed, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X, but it's been mostly stories on men. They show more on the men aspect than the woman aspect, and I feel, that the stories, there are more heroes than our women. There are more, other than just me, ambassadors of women, and even though I feel that when they see me, that they see our other women, like women. And when, as far as Hollywood is concerned, I learned about the Hollywood. I've been under the teachings of the acting guild and everything, and I've only accepted positive and dynamic roles, even though I haven't done that much acting. But the acting that I do have a choice of what roles that I take, and it's always been positive roles.
That's a perfect example.
I can guarantee you have affected men, don't even know how good you affected them. They probably would never find out. And you have affected men that way. God only knows who they are. When one time, there was a time for this doctor. I went to California, and I was invited to come to the Techno Health Institute of California. They was losing money, and they was about to lose the institute, the school. All they needed is $20,000 to raise, to keep from losing the school, the institute. And this technical institute was help teaching young doctors and nurses to become doctors and nurses at this institute at a low scale price where they can learn the education in a quick way with the techno health. And it was run by Don Doty. Okay, when they invited me, I felt, oh my God, they are going to close the school down. So when I gave $25,000 to help their school, it was nice and everything, which probably came in handy for them at that moment. And there was this one little young man, light-skinned guy, tall, very quiet, had a white little coat on, and I just noticed, I noticed when anybody was real quiet, I noticed them. I don't say much. And I don't know anything about this guy. Something just told me, take this guy under your wing and show him about you. So I said to him, I said, you want to go to Hawaii? He looked at me and said, what? I said, you want to go to Hawaii? I'm going to Hawaii, the University of Hawaii, to speak at a university. I want you to go with me and be my guest. I just want to take you. Because he didn't say much. He wasn't all in. It didn't seem like he was impressed with me or something. And I just wanted to do something to impress him. To see what make him tick. It was bothering me. And it was on my mind. I said, I gotta do it. So I paid the sister, you be here at so time picking you up, you're taking you know why, and we're gonna fly back out of my hotel room, everything. Took him out and ate. Just like a protege, you know, and just something impelled me to do that. And so I brought him back, he saw the class, he saw the college, he saw the people and everything, and he came back. And I said, did you enjoy yourself? He said, yes, I did. And he looked at me and said, thank you. Sincerely said, thank you. I said, you're very welcome. And I said, wow. And that was all. And he went on about his business. It wasn't until 10 years later, you never saw the guy again. I never saw Don Doty for a long time, years have passed, I'm traveling, and never saw anything. And 10 years later, exactly 10 years later, I ran into Don Doty in Chicago. He had moved to Chicago, wasn't in California. And the school's still going on. And I said, he said, Khalilah, he said, remember that guy you took to Hawaii? I said, yeah. He said, you know, he had problems. He had some serious drug issues. And he was depressed and everything. And he was talking of committing suicide. And he had a real bad drug issue. I said, you kidding me? You lying.
Right.
You gotta be, not the guy I took to Hawaii. He said, oh yeah. He said, oh yeah. He said, matter of fact, it was that issue, that particular day I found out about all this. And it's getting worse. And then you took this guy to Hawaii and back. He said, what made you think of that? I said, just something I was compelled to do. He said, you know what happened to him? I said, no, what happened? He said, that man, that trip that he made changed his whole life. He became positive about something. He finished his doctorate, he became a doctor because of you taking him to Hawaii. This man's got a family now, and he's a doctor. I just want to let you know that, what you did to his life. Now, I'm sitting here, Paul, I never known that. See, you don't even know who you have impressed in your life. A lot of times you'll never find out. But by you being who you are and being strong in your conviction with you're helping the sister and all, these are magical things you're doing. This ain't easy. These are magical things that you have in your heart. I can hear it in your voice when you say, yeah, you make a comment. Yeah, because you're absorbing everything. And when you hear it coming from you, you mean it. You're not playing to make me sound good or impressing me. You're not impressing me. You seriously mean what you're saying, and I can feel it. So when you are sitting back there against that wall, standing against the wall, that's a true leader right there. Myself tells me right then and there, you're a true leader, and you have no clue. You have no clue who you have turned lives around, and I know you've done it. I know about it. The will of Allah. I know you've done that. You're impressionable. You know, you might not be loud, you might not be outgoing, but you're effective. You're very effective. The way you do what you do is effective. Trust me. So, you know, that's a beautiful reason. And I said, I'm going to sit and talk to these people because I'm sitting up observing them all the time. I might be talking to this person and they're talking about me, but I'm observing everybody in that room. When I'm talking to them, I'm observing everybody in that room, and I'm picking up on things of people in that room at that moment, at that time. And I feel I have a connection. I've got a connection out of them. And what they're thinking and what they think is the same way that I think. They think the same way.
Definitely.
We both all think the same way.
Yes.
You know, when it comes to the way I think, it's already in your head already. Because you've been thinking it a long time. You know, you just hearing me to hear yourself.
Right.
Because it's really you. And when you say, yeah, I agree with that, that means you know what you were thinking were right all along. Because other people thinking the same way you're thinking. I'm thinking, hey, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Because when you see me, I want a reflection of you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's a good feeling.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
feeling.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank God for that. It's a good feeling.
I like that. Definitely.
Yeah, because you're making a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you might be, you're not Muhammad Ali or Khalilah Ali. It's on the same level.
Yes,
but it's
ma'am.
on the same level and with just as much impact. That's all.
Definitely.
And they will get to know you. In your future, before you 64 years old, you're going to feel what I feel.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And you actually do feel what I feel all the time. You know how good you are. You know how great you are. You know what you're doing is right. You're not doing it for greatness. You're not doing it for anything other than trying to help and just trying to get that message over some kind of way. And you're just trying to pull it in with this source or that source. And your choices are going to change all down the line. And you know media will do that.
Yes, definitely.
That's the key to the soul, not media. It's everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it changes the whole world, media.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to take no more of your time. I
Thank
appreciate
you, brother.
everything.
Thank you. You
Yes,
gotta
ma'am.
give me
Yes,
a
ma'am.
copy of these.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
I
I'm
want
on
to get
YouTube.
your name, number
Yes,
on
ma'am.
that too.
Yes, ma'am. And I pay this to Dallas Weekly. I'm inshallah, see you on Sunday as well. Bring my children, my girls. I want my girls to meet.
Thank you.
You know.